Mini has had a long history of building charismatic, fun-to-drive cars with their go-kart-like handling and rambunctious turbocharged engines. However, as the industry continues its forward march into electrification, this is Mini's entry into the fray with the 2020 Cooper SE, an electrified version of the Cooper S, which replaces that car's 2-liter turbocharged petrol engine with the same electrified powertrain that you find in the BMW i3S. So today I'm in beautiful Miami Beach, Florida with Mini with the all-new electrified Cooper SE. And the big question I want answered, does this new electric Mini Cooper signify the start of a new era at Mini? That's what we're here to find out. Now the Cooper SE is based off the current generation Mini Cooper platform, which debuted back in 2014. And this is not a dedicated EV platform. So you guys might be curious, when you open up the hood, a lot of EVs actually have a frunk. That is not the case with the Cooper SE. This is essentially, again, the same powertrain that we find in the BMW i3S, so the performance version. And surprisingly, if you take this plastic cover off, you can see there is the electric powertrain for this vehicle. It essentially makes 181 horsepower and 199 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you compare these numbers to the numbers you find in the gas-powered Cooper S, the gas-powered car makes about 8 more horsepower and about 10 more pound-feet of torque. So this is very comparable. It's why Mini is calling it the Cooper S and E for electrification. Now, of course, there's no gearbox with a car like this. The gas-powered Cooper offers either a manual transmission, a 6-speed or an 8-speed auto. This only comes with a single-speed reduction gear transmission, and Mini says the performance is very comparable to the petrol-powered vehicle as well. You should get to 60 in around 6.9 seconds, and the charging, or the range of this vehicle. Mini said when they initially launched this car last year, it would have around 235 to 278 kilometers of range. The actual EPA numbers for the US spec car is 110 miles. Now that is pretty disappointing in terms of the competition. But remember, the Cooper SE is supposed to be kind of like a second car. Minis are usually like second cars, so Mini claims 110 miles of range is plenty for a vehicle like this. This car does have the ability to also quick charge. You could also quick charge it at 50 kilowatts station, which would give you about 80% charge in around 35 minutes. If you just level 1 charge this car, it'll take about 24 hours. If you do a level 2 charge, it'll take about 4 hours because this car only has a 32.5 kilowatt hour battery pack. It's why the range is only 110 miles. Now, this car also is relatively heavy because of the electric powertrain and the batteries. The regular gas-powered car weighs around 3,700 pounds, which is actually really heavy for a car that's this small. This one here is about 300 pounds heavier, so you're looking at a tick over 4,000 pounds for the electrified Cooper SE. So by now you should be pretty familiar with the design of this generation. It's probably on its last leg. Mini is going to be introducing a new generation soon, but as you can see, this car still looks relatively fresh despite being 6 years on the market. There is very little indication that this is the actual electrified version of the Cooper S, aside from the grille, which as you can see here is completely closed off. There's also a lot of acid yellow accents around this car. That's what Mini uses to show that this is their electrified powertrain. All of the Cooper SEs will come standard with their full LED headlights, which include an LED daytime running light, LED turn signals, you have LED fog lights here. I actually think this car looks really good. I like how the grille is closed off. The only thing that I don't like about the front end is this fake hood scoop. Mini decided to keep that hood scoop from the petrol-powered S model. You can see it's actually closed off because there's no engine that needs air being fed to an intercooler. I kind of wish Mini just got rid of that, but they also wanted to show that this is still kind of like the S, but with an electrified powertrain. Let me know in the comment section below. I think this is a cute little charismatic car that really has no competition. The competition set for this car is really sparse because the Cooper SE is very small. Looking at the rest of the side profile, you can see at 152 inches long, this is a small car. I mean, if you compare it to something like the Nissan Leaf, this car is about 2 feet shorter, which again makes it a little bit more unique in the segment. The one thing that's also really cool that stands out a lot are these wheels. This particular one here is the iconic trim level. It's the top of the stack. It includes these rather attractive and unique set of wheels. Now they are a little controversial. I know some of you may not like the way these wheels look, but you can't deny the fact that they're aerodynamic. They look really different, and they're gonna help, of course, improve the range. They're a 17-inch wheel wrapped in a 205 width tire. Of course, if you prefer more of a conventional wheel, Mini offers like 2 different choices of wheel. You can also choose from like a black finished wheel as well. Now you can see my Tester has a panoramic sunroof, which is nice. That's included with this iconic trim level. And this white silver metallic paint, it definitely stands out. It still has, you know, the typical traits that we expect from the Mini brand, but there's like a nice subtle, you know, touches here that's showing that this is the electrified model. Now looking at the rear of this vehicle as well, you can see the same kind of bug-eye taillights that they introduced on this car 6 years ago. They're kind of an LED combination taillights. Now the brake lights and the turn signals are an LED, but the reverse lights are just an incandescent. You can see it still has the Cooper S badge there to show that this is the more performance-oriented model. And then you have this big old yellow E here to show that this is the electrified model. As you can see, obviously no rear exhaust tips, because remember, this car is all electric. There is no internal combustion engine. This is not a plug-in hybrid vehicle at all. Now coming over here, I want to show you guys the charge port for this vehicle. Mini again puts it on the passenger side at the rear. When you push that here, you can see it has the standard J1772 plug. That's of course going to be for level 1 and level 2 charging. And then if you guys want to fast charge this vehicle, you can see there, it gives you the full DC fast charging capability. It doesn't use like a CHAdeMO connection like what Nissan uses on the Leaf. So overall, the car's body design is very reminiscent of the gas-powered Mini. Now, of course, being a Mini and electrified car, you're probably wondering how's the cargo capacity? Because remember, Mini offered an electrified version of the Mini E about 10 years ago, which didn't have a back seat and didn't have any cargo space because the batteries took up the space there. Now, for this new generation, Mini has obviously redesigned the batteries because of new technology, and you aren't going to lose any cargo space back here compared to the gas-powered car. You're looking at around 8.7 cubic feet of space back here, which is very small, but remember, we're talking about a car that's 152 inches long. Now, if you'd like, you can fold down these seats back here, and it gives you around 32 cubic feet of space, which is not bad, but keep in mind, you're going to lose those back seats. But the cargo area here, as you can see, mostly backpacks will take it up fully, but it's nice that Mini has not compromised the cargo area with this new electrified version. Now stepping inside the Cooper SE, you can see just like the exterior, the interior has some subtle changes, and the door sounds relatively solid. It reminds me again of the last Mini Cooper that I sat in. Now, the changes that you can see here are pretty small. I mean, obviously the acid yellow accents are kind of carried through. There's some, you know, yellow accents here for the start-stop. The floor mats are also unique, and I also really like these seats. These are the upgraded seats you get with the iconic trim. You can see they have kind of this diamond quilted pattern, the nice stitching. They're also very soft and comfortable. They're all a manual seat. They adjust in like 8 different ways. You even get a thigh extender over here, even on the passenger and the driver's side. The bolster is also nice. So obviously the seats are tailored more to be sportier, but for my frame, I find that I fit in them fairly comfortably. Now, here's the key fob that comes with the vehicle. The company's smart key access system with push button start or toggle start comes standard. So when you want to start the vehicle up, I want to first let you guys hear the noise it makes when you start it up. It's literally like George Jetson car of the future. Now, obviously, that is a fake noise that, you know, Mini incorporated to make this car feel a little bit more unique versus the gas-powered Mini. Because remember, when you start up a gas-powered Mini, they have that very, you know, nice exhaust noise, but this clearly doesn't have it. Now, looking at the rest of this interior, the steering wheel you can see here is tilt and telescoping. It's a manual design. It offers a good amount of adjustability. And for such a small car, I find that the Cooper is relatively roomy. I mean, obviously, at 5'7", I'm not very tall, but you can see here there is plenty of headroom over here, even with the dual sunroofs. There actually is a surprisingly amount of room to kind of spread about as well. And in terms of the materials, this car has relatively good materials. You can see the dashboard here is all soft touch. It's also soft touch over here, although the plastic molding here doesn't feel quite as high quality as the molding over here. The glove box compartment here is hard touch plastic. The steering wheel is also nice. It's got, you know, very nice leather on it. It's a very thick bolstered rim. It's got your usual steering wheel controls. The door panel here is also soft touch. The windows are one touch up and down for both, which is nice, although there's just 2 windows in here. My Tester, being the iconic trim, has the upgraded 12-speaker Harman Kardon sound, which does sound good. It's definitely worth the upgrade if you guys want to get, you know, the better sound system, because remember, there's no engine in this car, so you're probably going to be cranking up your tunes a little bit. The head-up display is also included with this particular trim, and unlike the gas-powered Mini, they've replaced the older gauges here, which had the traditional dials, with this full LCD display that shows your speed, it shows how much power you're using, it shows your battery charge. Right now it's showing about 82 miles of range at 87% battery. At a full charge, this thing was showing around 109 miles. When I switched it over to Eco Plus, or Eco Pro, whatever, it was showing 155 miles. So remember, 110 miles of range. This 8.8-inch screen here is basically like BMW's iDrive, but it's Mini's version. This is the upgraded screen. It comes standard with a 6.5-inch screen. If you guys go for the standard models, you can see there's the home screen over there. It's a touch screen, or you can also control it from this little knob down here. This also does include Apple CarPlay, but for some reason I couldn't get the Apple CarPlay to actually work. I may have to just fiddle around with the settings a little bit more. You can see dual zone climate control is also included. This yellow light here kind of changes colors, you know, based on whatever drive mode you're in. All these toggles here also look nice. This car offers two different modes of regen braking. There's low regen and high regen, which we'll talk about later on in the test drive. Parking sensors, which is included on this iconic trim. And you can see here your drive modes. There's Green Plus, which gives you the maximum amount of range. It literally added about 15 miles of range when I put it in that. And then there's a mid setting, which is like normal, and then a sport setting. You can see it turns completely red. This car does come with BMW's, Mini's active driving assistance stuff, where it has forward collision avoid, lane keep assist, stuff like that. So again, you can turn all of that off from that button over here. A lot of the switchgear in here has a relatively high quality feel. You have two USB ports over there, cup holders over here, although the plastics down here feel a little bit more on the cheaper end. This here controls the 1-speed reduction gear transmission. You put it into reverse over here. You can see it gives you a backup camera, which is very similar to the last BMW products I drove. You can see there, no 360 camera, but you've got the parking sensors, whatnot. No manual mode, of course. There's no physical gears in this car. But you can see here, there's a nice armrest here, which does allow you to kind of adjust how high and low it is. And then there's also a nice little phone charger area over here, wireless charging. You could put your phone in there, or you can also just use it as storage. You can completely fold this up if you'd like. There's a little bit more, you know, storage over there. So overall, the front row seat area is very comparable to the gas-powered car. Offers a decent amount of space. I like the dual sunroofs in this model. The glove compartment also, you can see, is a fairly large size for how small this car is. It's damped, but not lined with felt, but there is a pair of small back seats back there, so let me hop back there and show you guys if it's actually comfortable for somebody that's short, for like myself. Now, Mini does offer a 4-door version of this car, but not on the electrified version, which is kind of a problem if you guys actually want to carry people in the back seat. But for demonstration purposes, let me get back here, because at least there is a back seat. The old one did not offer that. And to get back here, there's a nice lever here that you can pull, and you can see the seat kind of moves forward to give you, you know, a little bit of space to get back here. Mini surprisingly says there's 30 inches of legroom back there. Where? That's kind of my question there, but let me get back here and show you guys the space. Now, hold on a second. Okay. Ugh. All right, let me get over to this side here. This is where I have the seat to drive. This is my driving position. Okay. And you know what? Once I settle back here, it's not bad. It's just kind of getting back here is a little bit tight because the opening is very small. But you can see my knees aren't completely in the seat, but my feet kind of go underneath the seat, which offers a good amount of foot space underneath there. I mean, 30 inches of legroom. I'm thinking more this is like 25 inches of legroom. Thankfully, the seat leather back here is actually relatively comfortable. You know, there are these headrests here, so I can, you know, get a little bit comfortable. The materials are all hard touch plastic, but I love the fact that there is a nice, you know, roof above me, so it lets in some light. Big windows here so you can see out of well. So if you've got friends that are under 5'9", so basically my height, theoretically you could put, you know, 2 people back here as long as the driver and the front passenger moves their seat up to give you a little bit more space. Now, 10 years ago, Mini tried an electrified version of this car called the Mini E. It was a kind of like a test mule model because they only brought 50 of them to the US. They built a total of 500. It was a lease-only car. I never got a chance to drive it. So their second attempt now is available in all 50 states. It'll go on sale in March. And if you guys have driven the regular, you know, Cooper S, this car will feel instantly familiar. It has, you know, the similar kind of ride quality. It's a little bit on the firmer side. I did forget to mention that this car is about 0.7 inches higher in height. I don't really notice that I'm sitting higher in this car. Overall, the visibility in this thing is what you expect. You can see out of it well. The side mirrors are large. This car here does not have blind spot monitoring, which is surprising to me. I mean, granted, this car is only it's very small, so maybe you don't need it. But I find the seats to be comfortable. And on this smooth pavement, the ride is agreeable, although on the crappier roads here in Miami, I did notice the ride was pretty bumpy. Now, the one thing immediately that I love about the Cooper SE is the fact that, you know, this is the same powertrain from the i30S, so as soon as you put your foot down, this thing pushes you back with so much torque and immediacy that you just can't replicate in the gas car because the turbo has to spool up, the transmission has to downshift. You literally can just kind of drive your passengers insane by putting your foot down whenever you want, and this thing will just make everybody's heads bob. And the one thing that I also really like about this car as well, the regen braking. Mini offers two different levels of regen braking. There is a low regen braking mode and then a high regen braking mode. The regen braking in this car reminds me so much of my Tesla Model 3. In high regen, the car brakes so hard that I don't even have to use the brake, the physical friction brakes. This car has a very strong regen brake, so you can basically do the one pedal driving, which I think Mini got right. It's almost like BMW and Mini heard the complaints, or they drove a Tesla, so they kind of mimic that. And of course you can have, you know, your two different options, whether you want the low or the high. So I think driving this car is really nice. The fact that it's front wheel drive also doesn't really show because it doesn't really have that much wheel spin, but we'll try a full throttle acceleration from a stop and we'll see if that's the case. Now, when I started this drive, it was fully charged and the car was showing 110 miles of range. Now, right now, we're on our way to the lunch spot, which is another 25 miles or so from where we are. We've driven probably a total of, I want to say, 25 miles already. It's showing 83% fully charged, and there's about 72 miles of range. I don't like seeing the 72. It kind of gives me range anxiety. So that's another reason why I think Mini needs to make the range closer to 200 if they do decide to put a bigger battery pack on this car. If you fiddle around with the drive modes here, if we put it into Green Plus, it does add about 15 miles of range, so now it goes to 88 miles. However, the climate control blanks out, so it kind of puts it into an eco mode, so you have to take your choice between being comfortable or sweating a lot, which thankfully here in Miami in January, it's only about 76 degrees outside, so you could drive around with it. The air conditioning, which does suck up a lot of power. Now, I wish I could comment more on the handling of this car, but there aren't really many great curvy driving roads here in Florida. It's mostly just straight, flat roads. So overall, the handling feels like the regular Mini. It has still very good communicative steering, but I managed to luck out. The light here is red, so we're gonna put it into sport mode here. We're gonna turn off the traction control. The car gives you all these warnings and such, and we're gonna floor it, and we're gonna see how this thing feels, how it puts the power down.
I really wonder if it's gonna do it.
Peel out. Peel out.
I don't know. The initial off the line play wasn't necessarily all that great. It's after you're at 2 or 3 or 4 miles an hour, it actually starts to get in.
Feel fast, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if that's throttled at all.
I think that's the way they've tuned it. It's they've definitely. I feel like they're limiting power.
Yeah. I hope that next light goes green before.
I know, yeah. I could just move over to the left and then...
I don't know, can you beat another Jag? You already lost to an F-Type.
Yes, and it was the 300. It was the 4-cylinder F-Type too. It was so sad.
It's an old woman with a handicap sticker. I think it'll be okay. Okay.
All right, floored here, and there was no wheel spin. And I have to say, it feels a little bit soft off the line, almost like Mini is limiting the power off the line. The car feels quick. I mean, 0 to 60 in 6.9 seconds feels relatively right, but I was kind of expecting a little bit more pull. I think with Teslas now, they've really kind of raised our expectations up here. Now, granted, this car is significantly cheaper, so this is going to keep pace with something like the Nissan Leaf Plus and the Chevrolet Bolt. And it's faster than the Hyundai Ioniq and the e-Golf for sure. And again, putting my foot down here, you can feel, ooh, all that torque.
You passed the Model S.
Yeah, I mean, this thing is definitely more fun to drive than the gas-powered Mini. I mean, the last one that I drove, I thought was a little underpowered. It was a Clubman, so granted it was a heavier car.
What is your turn signal?
I don't know, I thought I was turning left here. Tourist. But this is the best part about EVs, is when you want to squirt around people, and in this teeny tiny car, it makes it even better. So even though there aren't very many curves here in Miami, this car is really great for kind of, you know, squirting your way through traffic in a car that's so small. It handles well, it has a fairly good ride quality on smooth pavement, good visibility. Granted, it is very small in this car. It has enough space for, you know, 2 people and their stuff if you put their seats down. So really, for the price that Mini is asking for the electric, this is a really enticing car. My biggest complaint with it is I wish it was a little faster, and I wish that it had more range, because if you look at the 2019 i3, BMW has improved the range of that car to about 154 miles. I think that the Cooper SE should have had a similar amount of range. Now, granted, in Green Plus, it was showing that, but I have to sacrifice, air conditioning, and the car also feels a little bit more lethargic. In sport mode, everything is just kind of heightened up and the car feels more energetic. It feels the way an electric car should feel. And I imagine most owners who buy this car are going to leave it in sport, because the whole point of the Mini brand is, for its go-kart-like reflexes, its amazing handling, great steering. And now with the electrified version, you can basically do all of that without having to fill this up with gas or wait for any of the lag that you get with the petrol-powered models. So about 10 years ago, when Mini tried their first electrified attempt with the Mini E, it was kind of a one-off model, because Mini only managed to sell about 50 of them in the US, and they were a lease-only car to basically a bunch of test guinea pigs, because Mini wanted to see what it was like. So obviously for the second version of their electrified car, this is a car that'll be available in all 50 states, and it's also available now, and you can also purchase this thing. So it's something that Mini has spent a lot of time doing, because this is all done in-house. It's got the same powertrain from the BMW i3S, which you guys saw from the test drive, makes this thing one quick little car. I mean, 0 to 60 in 6.9 seconds isn't exactly fast by a lot of electric car standards. You can thank Tesla for that. But as you guys saw from the test drive on the road, the car actually has plenty of power. Despite it being front wheel drive, it can actually put the power down. And even though we're here in Florida, there aren't very many curvy roads, I can still feel the fact that this still feels and handles like a Mini, which means it has go-kart-like steering. It does have a little bit of a harsher ride quality, which could be a deal breaker for some, but I like the fact that Mini has kept the charismatic look while adding a few little touches of the fact that this is an electric car with the wheels, with the yellow accent. Now keep in mind, Mini offers a lot of bespoke options on this car, so you could customize this to get rid of some of the electrified stuff, like the yellow badging here and there for more of a conventional look. But really, what makes the Mini Cooper SE so appealing is the fact that Mini has priced this car extremely well. The base model starts at $29,900. Now that's only about $2,000 more than the petrol-powered Cooper S, which is actually a steal. Now, of course, this particular one here, there's 3 trim levels. There's the Signature, Signature Plus, and then the Iconic trim. The Iconic trim adds things like the panoramic sunroof, the bigger 8.8-inch display, the heads-up display, and the Harman Kardon sound. This one all in is $36,900 plus destination. Now, that is before the federal tax credits. Now, if you guys purchase this car in the US, you will qualify for the full $7,500 tax credit on this car, which you can, of course, add to the purchase price the following year. And depending on what state you live in, some states offer a credit as much as like $3,000. You could get this car for under $20,000 if you guys go for the base trim, but really it makes the Cooper SE a really enticing proposition against the gas car. If you guys are okay with the fact that it only offers 110 miles of range, I think that is my one criticism of this car. I want Mini to kind of improve the range closer to 200. Really, it's going to make an interesting second car, and I think it's going to make, again, a really enticing proposition. So what we're seeing here, of course, is the start of a new era for Mini. As their second attempt at an electric car, I think I want Mini to eventually improve the range to over 200 miles. But really, it drives and handles like the regular Cooper. It has the similar ride quality. It has the same charismatic charm, but you can enjoy this car without the guilt of emissions, and not having to put any fuel in it is kind of also another perk. But with all that said, I hope you guys have enjoyed my full overview on the 2020 Mini Cooper SE. If you're also looking to see the latest cars I'm testing, be sure to follow me on Instagram at redline_reviews, like us on Facebook, and as always, guys, please keep subscribing to the Redline Reviews YouTube channel for all the latest reviews. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next video.